Make it.
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, just getting myself prepared here.
Yeah.
Got my cozy blankie.
Fancy.
Mm-hmm.
How you feeling?
Good. I had a energy release session, a virtual one today, so I'm a little bit kind of out of it from that, but in a good way.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Releasing things.
Yeah. Release the hounds.
That's a good way to think about it. We're going to go on our walk next, so maybe we'll race or something.
Who do you think would win in a race?
Like a running race?
Yeah.
I don't know. We've never raced before. You've got some height on me, but I think I'm maybe a better runner than you.
You ran track and field.
Who do you think would win? What are we racing towards?
Well, it depends how long the distance is.
Yeah.
You
You think you'd be better off long distance or a sprint?
Probably a sprint.
Mm-hmm.
I think if my Achilles tendon was at 100%, I think it would be a good race. I think you'd beat me now.
I'm thinking of a time that we had to run in the airport with our big backpacks on to catch a flight, and thinking that I would be the one to get to the gate first, and absolutely did not. Like, you outran me in that scenario, absolutely. So maybe
It'd be a good race. Who do you think would win, folks?
Let's put the vote out there. Let's not put it to the test, though, at least not today.
No.
I was thinking more of a leisurely, nice fall, breezy afternoon walk.
Yeah, that's what we'll do.
Yeah, that's what we've got. I feel like a hair. There we go. An eyelash. Oh, do you want to flex now? No?
Do you remember a few episodes ago?
Oh, this means that I'm talking?
This means you forgot something.
Oh!
You don't have to flex. It's a code.
Welcome to Make It with Mike and Kristen.
Where creative people talk about what they make and what making it means to them.
Oh, you flex so often that I forgot that it was code. You do. You do. Honestly, like, I walk in a room often and you're flexing.
Well, that sounds...
It sounds like the truth.
No, but it's when I hear you coming and you don't know that I know, I stand there and pretend I'm flexing.
But it's still true that I walk in a room and you're flexing.
I guess.
Or you'll be on the exercise bike and I'll walk by and you'll be flexing.
The only time I ever flex is when I'm supposed to remind you, because that's the code we made.
Yes.
That you forgot to say the intro.
Maybe we told this story as to where this was born before too.
Or when you're coming and I hear you and I pretend I don't hear you, like I'm just standing there for no reason flexing. It's a funny joke.
Well, thank you for the reminder.
Yeah.
Great intro. Today. My apologies go out to our very grounded and present guest, Gabrielle Papillon, who did a much better job at articulating and staying on the course in her conversation than we're doing right now.
It was a great chat. She's been doing music for very long time. It sounds like started like the kind of same time as me is when I started with my band, The Town Heroes, 2010-ish. So 15 years and lots of awards, lots of travels, lots of experiences, and just great honors and accomplishments she's achieved, and is now doing some theater stuff. That sounds incredibly exciting.
Doing some musical theater. Yeah. She has a performance coming up December 10th. It's a workshop performance, which she talks about the story behind it and how this is going to work. It's called Mind the Light and is inspired by some of her family lineage. And it's such a great concept and sounds like the culmination of a lot of her creative projects coming together, because she's done everything.
That's a nice thing when you can merge all these disciplines that you work on at different times, but then I guess I'm speaking for myself here, but when you have all these different ideas that fit in different places, but you can bring them together, and it sounds like that's kind of what she's doing here, and I'm excited to see it myself. I saw you just put it in the calendar. I got the notification December 10th. So,
I don't want to miss it. And it's
yeah.
supported by Side Door. We've had Laura Simpson
Yeah.
on the podcast before who runs that company. Gab is somebody who always partners with the best of the best, I would say. And she's had recognition and collaborations that showcase her talents. But I really appreciated her honesty today. She's somebody who, as you pointed out, has done all the things and received a lot of recognition for that, but there's still the realities of living the life of a creative that she opens up about. So I was grateful for that part of the conversation too.
We're all just trying to survive, get by,
make it,
get that next meal. And I know our last episode was all about how Togetherland is coming to a close and the new chapters, new beginnings for you, and a lot of great feedback on that episode. And this chat with Gab definitely dove into some of those subjects, but it's been really nice to see a lot of the support that's come out for you and for Togetherland, and just people really appreciate what was said in that and who you are.
Thank you. And a huge heartfelt thank you to everyone who has sent me a personal note or a phone call or a voice memo. I've heard from a lot of people that just have very thoughtful words to share, many people that feel exactly the same. And it's not an easy thing to admit to this or say some of those things out loud, but we've all along seen it as an opportunity for growth and learning, and have the benefit of life experience now that at the outset of this understood that while this is going to be a hard few months, there will be something on the other side that gives meaning to this experience. And sitting down with someone like Gab, who I think recognizes some of those similar emotions and has experienced some of them herself, was really comforting as well. So she's but one more person to hold tight, and feel grateful for her being willing to share her story, and with all of our listeners too.
Yeah, no, excited for people to hear. And the last events at Togetherland, myself, my band, the Town Heroes playing, are both sold out now. So we'll be welcoming 150 of our friends or so for the last...
just a smidge over capacity. Just a smidge. Yeah.
It's going to be a couple of great nights. We're already planning the fun.
It's hard when you're sold out and then you get some of your really dear close friends be like, "Ooh, can you just squeeze in a couple more?" And we're like trying to, guys.
I told every single person, like, this is going to sell out.
Yeah, I know.
And you had a lot of time.
Yeah.
So I wish I could, if it wasn't already over capacity, I'd say, yeah, sure, we'll just get you on the guest list or whatever. But like, I don't know, we're already breaking a few laws. So.
Let's just put it out a little more publicly on the podcast now, huh?
Yeah.
But there's lots of incredible shows. I really want to take this moment too and encourage people to go out and support their local venue and artist and live music, because we know what it's like to be on both sides of this. And Gabrielle's show is going to be spectacular. I just know it. Her cast, her crew behind her. She's been working on this for a number of years. She gets into that too. So let's cheer her on. Sell the place out.
Yeah. Local artists, local businesses. Like, if you don't support them, they go away.
They go away.
So that's just the reality of it. So if you enjoy someone doing something, a business doing something, get the hell out there and show your support. Like, that is the smallest thing you can do. Maybe it costs a little bit more to buy cheese at this place than at Sobeys, but it's going directly in the pockets of that person. You know, that's just a random example.
Go get your cheese.
Get your cheese from the local person, not Sobeys.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why are you flexing now?
I just wanted to.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, here's Gabrielle Papillon.
Make it. Are you guys gonna have a little gear talk?
No.
This often happens. I'm just gonna go get a drink.
I'm like anti-gear talk sometimes. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that.
No, you go for it, because you guys know. I mean, this is your
your
world that you're in now.
I'm very like functional when it comes to gear, though. Like, I always wanted to have a studio and to be able to, like, literally every time I turn all the switches on, like I walk into my studio and I turn all the switches on, I'm like, this is what I always wanted. I wanted to be able to like walk in, turn all the switches on, have all the things I need and do the thing. But the learning how to do the thing, I'm super impatient about. I'm just like, no, just can you like put a USB key in my brain and give me all the information?
Get the instant downloads.
Yeah, because my brain's too scattered. I find like learning new things really quite difficult now. I'm going to steal some of this.
Yes,
blanket.
Please. That's what it's here for.
That's alpaca, isn't it?
Yes, this was a gift from
So
my
lovely.
friends Rodney and Celeste.
My goodness.
Yeah, it's very decadent. This image of turning on the studio, is this something you have had since childhood? Like, is this a manifestation?
No, I think, and this is probably the case for most artists, like what we think being an artist is and what that looks like changes so much as we like age, I think. So, I mean, when I was a kid, first of all, I wanted to be a ballerina. And I went to I did like the Royal Winnipeg Ballet. I grew up in Winnipeg, like professional division summer schools you had to audition for. And like 5 or 6 days a week, I would go dance. I would go to dance classes. Like that's where I was cool.
How old were you at this point?
I did that from the age of 8 to like pretty much when I went to university, like 18. Yeah.
So you spent your whole childhood in Winnipeg?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And partially in Quebec. We were like in Quebec for 2 years when my dad was studying.
Okay.
Yeah.
What finally brought you to Nova Scotia? I say finally as though like everybody's going to arrive here one day. But
I did. I don't understand why. Why isn't everyone moving here? I want my whole family to live here. My parents moved here like after I had left home. I think probably when I was 20, they moved here. And so this is where I came home every year. And then I always thought that after university, like I went to university in Montreal for 10 years. Well, actually, I went first to Toronto. I went to Ryerson Theatre School. So then it was dancing, then it was acting, which I also think I had a not realistic perspective of what that career would look like. Quit that and then decided I was going to be an academic and was in Montreal. And I always had this idea that I wanted to live close to my parents. But I think what it really was for me was like they were walking by the company house when it was still pretty new. And they saw Janet Mackey. We love Janet Mackey. Do you know Janet?
I don't.
I feel like she's a legend.
By name, but not someone I met.
She was like is such a big heart and wonderful, boisterous, joyous person. And they saw this sign about an open mic. And so, they walked in to find out about the open mic because I had started playing music again after I got my master's degree. Like suddenly all these songs were in my head again and I was playing music again and kind of taking a break from academics. And then, Janet Mackey was like the person that they met when they walked into Coho and asked about, the open mic. And, it was like, oh, it won't be happening when she's here, but here, there's this festival, the In the Dead of Winter festival. She should apply. And I did. And I got in 2010. That was the year Ani DeFranco was supposed to headline. And then she got strep throat. But it was a big year. And I met so many, that's when I met Ria May. Ria May and Charlotte Cornfield and I sat at a table together. We were all baby musicians. And we all told each other our names. And then I think it was Charlotte who was like, we have good names. I just remember that. And then Ria's still one of my really close friends.
Yeah.
I met Kim Wempy there, met John Bryant and made so many friends. And then immediately John Bryant and I literally, he's not local anymore. He's in Vancouver, but still doing music. And we were just hit it off. And he's like, I'm going to go on a tour this summer. And I was like, I can't remember if he was like, want to come? And I was like, yeah. So we just like not knowing each other. And then we took the train. We did that like onboard musician thing.
Yes.
And John went to a boarding school in Alberta somewhere. So he knew all kinds of people along the way. And so anyway, tangent. We went on a side quest there. I basically moved here because it was like, oh, there's this whole community here that I don't really feel like I have in Montreal. Like it just was like, everyone's so friendly here. And I still think that,
I love your side quest because it speaks to that very thing in that there is sort of this sense of community and recognition in one another of the highs and the lows that this life tends to bring. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, the music community here, I think if anything, that's something that I do really miss like post-pandemic about not, we were saying earlier off mic that, I haven't really been going to those conferences and like, I don't really go to as many shows as I used to. And I think a lot of people don't. So there's just not this, like, I'm not, and especially when Company House closed, like there's not this community space anymore that you can just go to all the time. Yeah, it was like that. And then, wanting to be near my parents and, my partner. And I also, like I was sort of already moving here, but kind of met around that time and started dating around that time. So it was sort of all those things together.
Sealed the deal.
Yeah.
You talked about sort of having maybe this shift post-pandemic. Do you attribute that to a change in the entertainment industry and like the landscape of everybody's now home in their pajamas? Or was it something more personal to you that felt different at that time?
I think for a lot of us, like we were all kind of on this hamster wheel of like, do the thing, like release the record, go on the tour, promote the record, tour more, write the next record, record the record. And
sound familiar, Mike?
I know that one.
Yeah. We all know it. And I heard so many people when we all got grounded be like, oh, this is maybe really nice. I know some people who were like in serious depression and were like, no, my life is on the road. That's what I want to do. But I also know a lot of people, including myself, were like, I was actually relieved. Like I was supposed to go, I was in the UK when everything started shutting down. Thank God I had my flight home.
You're on tour in the UK?
No, I was doing a songwriting trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to do there was a period also for about 5 years where I would go on these songwriting trips and do lots of co-writing. Yeah. I mean, I literally remember being with one of my all-time favorite co-writers and like his studio was in the music publishing company that published him, and he and I were just like, everything was closing down and we were like, well, I guess we better finish this song. And then everything shut down. It was really weird. I was just in London like waiting to go home. You couldn't it felt weird. You didn't know if you could go anywhere. Like you would go somewhere and then someone would cough and you'd be like, did I just get the Rona?
Yeah.
And then, flew home and I was, I think we all even waited till the very last minute to cancel because we were all like, it's only going to be a week or it's only going to be 2 weeks. Isn't that crazy? And then, I just like when my tour was actually canceled because I was supposed to leave again, I had I'd be home for 7 days or 10 days and then I would leave again. That was my life. And it was canceled and I was like relieved. And I actually never rebooked it. Like I never did that tour. I didn't really promote my last record or I didn't really tour it. And then I did what a lot of people did, which was like nothing. Like so many, some people like wrote a book. You wrote a book.
We wrote a book. Yeah.
You wrote a book. Okay. Well, good for you guys.
But share that sense of relief.
But
I think we wrote a book because we finally were in a place where we're like, oh, we're in the same house together for more than 5 minutes.
Yeah. That was the time when I kept trying to learn Logic and then I would leave and I would forget everything and have to start over again. And that was the time where I was like, oh, I'm home long enough. I learned Logic. I got a couple grants that they had for artists where it's like, you could even buy gear, which is a non-starter.
I bought a
camera.
That camera.
You bought a camera.
Fujifilm.
I bought my interface and a really good Neumann microphone.
Oh, nice. What did you get? TLM 103? I assume
now the gear talk's happening.
Well, U87 would be too expensive.
Yeah, no.
So it had to be a 103.
Yeah, I mean, it was you had about $2,000 that you could spend on gear. So yeah, I got that mic, and then I got a UAD like 2-channel.
Yeah.
And
Apollo Twin.
I had to upgrade and get the box that like expands it, but
yeah.
I know exactly what's going on. So yeah, I agree.
You know what an interface is now.
I do. I'm just teasing.
That machine there.
I mean, listen, I still could not explain to you what it does. I'm like, you just plug it in there, and that's how it makes the sounds go to my computer. But yeah, I mean, I did like, I think there are a lot of things that came out of that period. Like, I'm weirdly grateful for that halt. And it also made me realize like, whoa, I am not okay. I'm not okay on the hamster wheel. And I feel like it's just chewing me up and like not spitting me out. Like it just keeps chewing me up. And I didn't, and I still don't. I don't really know. I don't know. I didn't feel like, I don't know. I felt like I was being sold a lot of myths by people in the industry.
Well, I feel like the pandemic was a time where we could really be reflective.
Yeah.
Look at what we were doing. Is this the right way we should be doing things?
Yeah.
Is this what I am supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
And so many artists it was the first time they ever got the chance to do that, because you're on that hamster wheel and you're going 24/7. Like when you're not working, you're still working because you're thinking of song ideas or painting ideas. Like there's a lot of people see an artist and they think it's I don't know. You go play your show and that's the only work you did for the week. But it's your mind. Your work is your mind, really. Like, and that's going nonstop, and you're just trying to capture those little essences of ideas that come in that may be able to become something that you can create and other people can relate to.
Yeah.
And I feel like the pandemic was the first time people got to just sit for a second and think about what it was that they were doing, because we were forced. Many and most people without wanting to be forced, but they were forced to take a step back and to look at that. And for me, I was like, oh, this is a time I can just be as creative as possible.
Yeah.
And
that's awesome.
It was, and also it was like, I guess if this is the only way to make my living, I have to do something that will allow this art to keep getting out to the world.
Yeah.
We did a lot of online stuff that was very, very successful for us. Like we'd have like multiple thousand people tuning in weekly to our bingo at different times.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. That was amazing. I feel like I watched 2 once.
That was like the pandemic was actually good for our band's trajectory, because we gained so many new fans from that. And then as soon as it was done and we started to play shows again, like we got to meet all these people.
Right.
A lot of them are our friends now and come to all our shows. But again, of course, the pandemic was a very tough time in lots of other regards. But
I mean, it's a weird sort of like, if you have the privilege of not having lost anyone close to you, or, you know, and also like you were safe and still housed. And I think a lot of us who made enough money off our work had CERB, which, man, that was...
Bring it back.
I mean, it's so crazy because we were all still working. Like, it's not enough money. It's not enough money to not do anything else, but it's enough that you can actually be like, I'm safe. I'm not going to lose my home. So I can like confidently go about my work and maybe even take more creative risks. And like, I think that there is benefit and payback for society at large when artists have that safety net.
That made me even more so want to have the universal basic income.
Oh my God, yeah. And I mean,
I think that's probably why you were prolific during that time as well, because it did settle that part of your system that was worried all the time. It's like,
and it was $1,500 a month, which what most people couldn't survive
baseline. We are resourceful people because we've spent a lifetime being resourceful people, but that $1,500 may not be, it's not a lot of money, but it was enough to take the edge off of, I can show up and have fun with this. I can pay my bills.
And, So I can pay my bills. That's it. And maybe not even quite, but like, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Yeah.
And that, man, like that's just.
Well, just the whole country would run so much smoother if that was a real thing.
Yeah. If everybody had like what they needed, like the baseline of what they needed and didn't have to worry and fret, you know.
And so fast forward 5 years-ish.
Yeah.
How does this relate to you now? Because we have the benefit of looking back at that time and having this conversation.
Yeah.
So how does this learning or that experience translate to the now?
I mean, I think because I hit pause on the music stuff, in addition to like building my studio and learning how to record and be a studio engineer and produce, I also learned how to write in a different way, and also like finally got to dedicate time to this musical I've been working on. Like I've, quote unquote, as my partner says, like mothballed my entire music career just to temporarily just to do this. And like, that's pretty significant. You know, what it means is that, you know, the way that I was making money, I'm still hustling, but the way theater works, especially if you're a creator, is like until that show gets produced, you don't really make any money. So it means I'm having to find like other ways to make money, because I think the reality about music and being a performer and making money that way is it is almost a full-time job, if not like more than a full-time job. Like it's hard to do part-time and actually make money if you have no support. So that part of me is paused just for a little while. And now I'm sort of like, I mean, I'm still writing music all the time. I'm just writing it for 9 different voices that aren't my own, in ranges that aren't my own, and writing insane harmonies and trying to sing really low, or getting my partner to come and sing really low. And also working in theater again. So like, I have gotten to now be part of like this totally different community. It's insane to me. Like there are crossovers in the theater and music community, but really not that many. And it's crazy to me because they're both such incredible communities. And you don't get many people like doing both of those things. Stuart Legier is one. And I love the theater community. Like it's just so, and I feel like I've really been like welcomed in a way that was unexpected. Like I just sort of did this thing not really knowing like, how do you musical or how do you theater? And like kind of like naively in hindsight decided I was going to write a whole thing. And, you know, I thought I would just like write it, and then it would be, you know, I'd write it in like one sitting, and then it would be done, and then it would be presented and whatever. And that is not how it works.
How did you get this idea? And can you tell us what the idea is?
Yeah. So I think, like people who know me will know my song Go Into the Night and the Lighthouse story. But the Lighthouse story that I tell before the song Go Into the Night is that my great-great-grandfather was a lighthouse keeper, and he lived on a tiny little island that's now a Heritage Canada site.
Where is it?
And it's in the Mingan Archipelago, so it's sort of like it's in Quebec, like very, very east and north, kind of just above the New Brunswick border, actually. Yeah, it's pretty isolated. It's very remote. The island is like a pelican breeding ground. There's only the lighthouse on this island. So, you know, he lived there with like his wife, their 13-year-old niece, and the keeper's assistant. And the night that his wife, so my great-great-grandmother, went into labor with their first child, there was a really bad storm. So he and the assistant went out in the boat to fetch a midwife from the mainland, and they drowned in that storm. So my great-grandmother was born the night her father died. And also, my great-great-grandmother basically delivered her baby with her 13-year-old niece. I mean,
what an incredible story.
Yeah, it's wild. It's like, it is part of Canada Heritage. Like there's a plaque and everything. And I wrote Go Into the Night like a few nights after my grandfather. So Azélie was my great-grandmother. Shal was my grandfather, a few nights after he passed away. That song, I mean, this is such a rare thing. I don't know if people understand this, but like the song came out in one piece. Like it just poured out of me. Like the words were there, the voicing was there. It just was there. It really felt like a parting gift. And it's probably like for a lot of people, their favorite song that I've written. And yeah, I mean, I always had this idea of like, what if, so they left, like my great-great-grandmother, they didn't stay, but like, what if they had stayed? And so my master's degree is in history, specifically women's history. And so like, I kind of knew that in this time when women really didn't have like jobs and couldn't work in the public sphere or have like jobs where they had much autonomy, lighthouses was this little magical place where frequently women would take over as head keepers when either like their husbands became like it's like a farm, like it was a family job. And so if something happened to the light keeper, the next natural obvious person to take over would be a wife or a daughter.
And this was late 1800s?
Yeah,
when
like
this
1880s.
Is yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I based it in 1880s. This would have been 1890s, but like that same time period, which is the time period I studied. Yeah, I mean, the show kind of like, much like a song, like the story kind of writes itself and I let it lead me. You know, I make choices, but yeah, it's about that. It's very queer. I'm queer, so like, I mean, I didn't set out to make it that way, but there was this moment where I was writing and it was like the lead character sort of like, I was like, oh, she's gay.
Yeah.
Like she told me, you know, like she came out. And then a lot of other things kind of fell into place. But yeah, I've been working on it since 2018. And that is it's so different from how we work in music. Like we put out a record, the song is recorded, that's it. You don't change it. And what's crazy to me is I have a lot of songs that I've written where I'm like, oh, this is imperfect. I wish I could tweak this. Like, I feel like, you know, you have to finish it in a timely fashion. I mean, not everyone does. Some people take 10 years to write a record. Apparently that's what I'm doing now. But like, you know, generally you have to release things every like 2 years or so. And so you kind of like the song is as it is, and then you have to perform it as such because that's what people are going to hear on the record and that's what they want to hear. And yet in theater, there's this process of like, you go and then you write the thing and then you workshop it with like a cast. You hear how it sounds and then you rewrite it. And it's amazing because it's like...
And you didn't know that this would be the process at the outset.
I thought I would just write it and maybe do another draft and it would be done.
Yeah.
And then, you know, that one of my dear sweet friend, Avery Jean Brennan, who's my dramaturge, but for a brief time was also my co-writer. Yeah, every time I'd be like, and so it'll be ready next year. And she'd be like, no, nope, that's not how this works.
So that is the concept of workshopping, is it?
Yeah. So that, I mean, I think even in theater, people don't quite always understand, especially for musical theater, because even within theater, the straight theater people don't always understand how musical theater works. But the workshop process generally in theater is that you're not rehearsing. It's not like where like a bunch of people come in and then they're going to do the thing a bunch of times until they have it down. It's like you're kind of poking at it and exploring it and trying it different ways and questioning it. And everybody gets to ask questions and have input.
So it's like a very long version of pre-production.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
And collaborative, it sounds like.
Very collaborative. Yeah. I mean, you cast it. You hire, you know, you can direct it and music direct it yourself, but it's actually like, it's better if you don't, because then you can observe.
Yep.
And it's also really good to see, you know, again, most of the time, you aren't going to be, if you're lucky and your show gets picked up, you're not going to be the one who has any say. Like some theater in, you know, Saskatchewan is going to put it on and you'll get your like royalty fee or whatever. and then the director, and they make all the decisions. So it's good for you to be able to see like, what does somebody else do with it when it's in their hands? In this instance, I'm choosing that person, and it's somebody, Annie Valentina, who's like, you know, a legend, who I trust.
Mm-hmm.
And who, like, both she and Melissa McKenzie, who's my music director, I mean, they're incredible. I'm like in awe, like watching them take this piece and work with it. Or like, you know, there's this rule, not a rule, but it's like, you're not, as the writer, you're not really supposed to talk much in the workshop space. You're just supposed to kind of like sit and listen. And sometimes people will ask questions, and, you know, the actors will direct the question at you, but really it's the director who decides. And so I would just be sitting there and I'd watch Annie answer, and I would have a really hard time not being like, like, like she's getting it. Yes, this is what I mean. Because you're not supposed to, like, you don't want to influence how they're going to, even the actors, how they're going to interpret what you've written. But it's so amazing because it is, you know, when you're doing pre-production, you have a say. You're like, nope, that's not quite what I want. And sometimes you're like, well, let's see what you're going to do if I don't give you any direction. And you're like, ooh, I love that. I'm going to use that. But generally, you're making all the decisions. But in theater or with a play or a musical, it's like, what do you do? Like, what are you reading? What's coming off the page to you? And I'm also somebody who, like, I really love feedback. Like, anytime I've done a record, I send it to more than a few people that I really trust. And I want like multiple opinions. And they'll either confirm or be like, or tell me something I wasn't thinking about. And
do you do that with the finished version, or is this the demo?
No, it's usually like mixing time. But sometimes, I mean, with writing, I feel like I have a pretty strong sense of what I want to do. And very rarely do I feel like I need like help or guidance. But with mixing and stuff like that, sometimes I'm like, what am I, something, or even production, it's like, what's missing? Like, you know, so asking people's, you know, advice is like really useful to me, because it's just creating, or it's just like collecting information and data. And in workshopping, it's like you get tons of information, you know, and sometimes people will say something like, oh, I don't know if this character, maybe you should cut this character. And you're like, oh, I'm not cutting that character, but this is important because that character isn't hitting the way it needs to. So I need to revisit that. You know, it's all like, even the sort of more critical things are really useful. I don't know. The process to me is amazing. And like, I've started taking that approach with my music. Like, I've got half an album written, and I'm like letting it marinate more than I used to, which, I mean, way more than I used to, which is sort of like, I don't know if it'll be a good result, but
you're honoring that. And I sometimes, I find myself, I don't know if you can relate to this. I find myself lately in this headspace of kind of moving the goalpost a little bit, or reevaluating what's important to me, what's going to make me feel good, what's going to fulfill my art. And I don't know if that's attributed to just growing older and having a different life experience, or wanting a different lifestyle. Or if it's something more external, like the industry changing, or I don't know. I find myself kind of ebbing and flowing with asking myself that question, and was curious, because I know that we're more or less the same age. Not that necessarily matters, but just to say that your life can be different. Touring might not feel the same as it did when you were 21. Just as for an example. And like, how do you sort of, I don't know, find clarity in that relationship with the art? Is it about just finding peace, or what are you in pursuit of at this point?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think for me, when I'm writing, it's really always about like the integrity of what I am working on. And for me, that means like, am I moved by it? Like, I might be able to come up with like a catchy hook that'll stay in my head, but if there's something in my body telling me like, there's something about this that isn't right, then I just kind of have to scrap it. And I think also just like being less precious about things. I mean, I've rewritten the opening of this show. I can't tell you how many times. And I've scrapped a lot of songs that are good because they're just not working. So it's like being less precious, but also being more exacting in like being willing to take my time to make sure it's right. I still think I'm really hard on myself. And I don't know if I will ever outgrow that. Maybe that's like really common for most artists. You know, it's very rare that I'm like, actually, I don't know. I mean, there are times where I'm like, oh, this is good. This is really good. This is a great song. It's amazing. It slays. It's going to ruin people, which is the best. And then I still, if I take too much time, I'm like, oh, but is it? Like, yeah, you know, that happens. But yeah, it's
the freshness sometimes is I don't know. You feel excited about the new thing, the new song. New song's always the best song.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's pretty common with most of us.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, that feeling when a song like sort of like makes its home in your chest and just kind of lives there.
Yeah.
Like it lives with you for a bit. And I have no idea if it's the same for you when you're, say, working on a painting, but like it sort of is like your companion while you're writing it, and then when it's written and when it's still just yours. There's like nothing like that feeling. I really don't know. I've never really been able to describe it. It is one of the best feelings. I think it's the point of like, not that I think it takes that to craft or create something that is inspiring, but I think like that yearning to like something moves us to create, right? Like there's something in us that makes us feel like we have to express ourselves that way. And then the further along we go, the more it becomes crafting and you master that craft. And I think it's hard not to lose that spark while you're going along. I totally lost my train of thought.
Well, the excitement of a new creation can keep you going for like that can be your sustenance essentially.
Yeah,
like you're living on that belief in it. Like it's the thing that excites you about your career, about life, about everything you're doing.
Yeah, and I think it's like profoundly human, right? You are expressing something very essential about the human experience, and like, I will die on this hill, but art is vital. I mean, books to me are like the most precious, wonderful things. Like I think to myself often, like if I'm an old lady and everybody around me has died, but I still have books and a roof over my head and food to eat, I will be okay.
Yeah.
And you know, and it's because for me, books are like so immersive and I'm super empathetic, and they also like create empathy, and you get to live in someone else's shoes. And I think like, you know, music, like when you hear a song that gives you chills, like that is like, I just feel like that's like the most profoundly like human experience. And I think that like that is timeless in a way. You know, many songs are become dated because of production or whatever, but like art itself speaks to like a moment. It's a testament to what is happening to an artist around you. We are like interpreters of the moment around us. And I, you know, like there are a lot of essential jobs out there that, you know, we think of essential jobs as like nursing and nurses and doctors. 100%. I think they're like top of the list. But I think also it's really common. I'm super off track here, but it's like I'm on a soapbox now. So here we go.
Go for it.
I think that it's like, you know, we live in a world presently, and I've really been struggling with this and trying to like come to terms with it in a way that I can like not sink into depression, but just keep making. But I think presently we live in a world that's pretty scary and that has more and more increasing economic disparity. And, you know, as one friend of mine put it, I was like, oh, people are just, you know, mad at artists for like, you know, I don't know, having liking their work. But most artists I know have 2 jobs. And he was like, a lot of people have 2 jobs and hate both of them. And I was like, right. There is this resentment towards artists in a way from a lot of like people who I think don't realize how much they benefit from them and also how hard they work and that they're also working class.
Yeah.
A lot of us. And I think it's like, I do think we're essential. And I think that like people don't even realize how much stuff they consume is art. Because they don't, people think of art as like, a painting or, like something obscure maybe, and they don't think about like that pop song they really love. Fundamentally, that is, okay, sometimes it's debatable. Those are artists.
There's a lot of artists are involved in the creation of a pop song.
Yeah.
Like you think of a studio engineer, 10 people who wrote it, all the professional musicians who played on it, the person who mixed it, the marketing team behind bringing it to life, all the people who work at the label who are creative minds trying to make a bunch of money off it. But there's so many people involved in that. It's actually almost more art than anything else, really.
Yeah, it's really like, it's all, and it's stuff that people consume constantly that makes them happy because it speaks to them. I just think it's like, I really want to live in a time, gosh, I hope we'll get there. I don't see it happening anytime soon, but I want to live in a time where it's like everybody has what they need so that we can all do the things we're good at. And also I want to live in a time where we value all work, like the janitors at the high school. Heroes, like, or at the hospital, like everybody's job, everybody's work. It's not job, but work has to be valued no matter what the work is. And also I think people have to be given like what they need so that they're not living in distress, I think,
I've always found it weird that anyone looks at anyone else's job in a negative way.
Yeah.
Like probably because a lot of people look at me as a person who dropped out of university to pursue music as a career.
Yeah.
And they think, that's a dumb thing to do. You got to go down this path.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm not judging a nurse, a janitor, garbage man. Like, hey, if you like to do it, or at least it's paying your bills, you're getting by, and this is what the path you went down. Great. Like, why would you judge anyone else on any decisions they make if it's not hurting other people?
Yeah.
Well, and another perspective I want to just throw in there is this idea that our value is found in our job that pays us. Like, this is something I've been thinking a lot about lately, and having been a little bit more open about the struggles I've been having in my business, I've heard from, I've just received so much love and beautiful feedback from my network of people, primarily other creatives, who can identify with this feeling of, if it's not all or nothing, you tell yourself that you're nothing. If I'm not a full-time artist, then I'm not an artist. And I've just been flooded with these incredible words of support to say that you're no less of an artist, and there is this human need to feel secure. Like we were talking about getting this little bit of money through SIR, but that for us was enough to satisfy that. That obviously can look different for different people, that scale of what they require to have that sense of self and safety and security. But I would argue that for a lot of people in our creative industries, that this is a common emotional struggle, and it's to the detriment of what our full potential might possibly look like. Yeah. What great art are we missing out on? Because we're also grappling with the financial security or whatever that might look to us, all the while questioning our worth and our talent because of it.
Yeah. It's such a
But I love this feedback that you heard from your friend of some people have 2 jobs and don't like either of them. I've not heard that before, and it really hit in a way to think about. So long as you get to, in some way, shape, or form, exercise your desires and dreams, like maybe those expectations are what we need to check in on of the outcome, or how big and grand does this need to look. Which I guess leads me to my next question of, like, you talked a little bit about The pursuit being about, I want to feel moved. You know, I want to feel connected to this. Is that, would you say, your idea of making it or of achieving success, if you can satisfy that feeling within yourself, or is it bigger than that?
I think if I'm being honest, it's bigger than that. And I think like since I was a kid, it was bigger than that. Although the realities of what that is change. Like the older you get, the more you realize like, you know, there's one. So it's sort of like, it's almost like I exist in, or I have, you know, it's like dream A and dream B.
Yeah.
And dream A is that, you know, my play or my musical, you know, goes all the way to Broadway.
Yep.
And becomes a big hit. And then I get to keep writing more musicals because I've already got a time travel musical I'm working on in my head, you know, like, and I get to do more of the work I want to do. Like, and that I'm, you know, feel that like that validation of that success. And also that level of success means you probably don't have to worry as much. Although I do know some like Tony Award nominated, you know, playwrights who still hustle. So it doesn't mean like the end of hustling, but you know, that level of success for me is like, that's still the dream. You know, likewise for my music, it's like the dream would be, to get more placements, to get to score a film, to just always, you know, to be able to play in, you know, full houses and theaters and, you know, sleep in nice hotels when I travel. And like, that's like dream A, is having this level of success where you don't have to worry and you can just do the stuff you do and live your life. And then dream B is like, I really just want like, you know, I want to be able to keep making art. And so if I'm going to start taking on sort of jobs that are, you know, like I've started substitute teaching for the French school board, and it is like really hard because that job is discipline. That's your job. And it is so contrary to what I want to do. Like I want to be their buddies, and they don't want to be my buddy. Like, but I do have days that are amazing where I walk out of there, I'm like, that was fun. I had a good class today, or I had a good day. And to me, that's validating because it's like, well, I'm still me. I'm still an artist. Tomorrow, you know, I do it part-time. So tomorrow I get to work on my art, but I feel like I connected with human beings, and like who are you as an artist if you don't have that? So, but I do find the job really hard. So, I mean, I think it would be to like find things that I can do to support me so I can still make art. Like right now, dream B is what can I do part-time so that I can still keep working on this musical, or because I can't, you know, the dream A, which is like we get discovered, or it's dream A involves a lot of luck and things I don't control. So now dream B is very much like, okay, what can I do to ensure that I have what I need, and, you know, I don't constantly feel like I'm struggling, and I can still make these things that I truly believe like have value, if that makes sense.
Do you feel like you're living dream B right now?
I don't. I feel like I'm trying to, but I actually feel like I'm not, you know, the part-time thing is to me like almost taking too much energy. And this is partly me. I'm like such a perfectionist, and I become so obsessive about things that like I'll go home and think about like, how could I have reached that kid that was really rude to me better? Like, or like the kid with, you know, oppositional defiance disorder, like what could I have done differently? And it's like, no, you're supposed to like leave that place and then be able to do your other stuff. And so that's actually like, I'm trying to work on like that, and also being more at peace with like, this is what I do part-time and this is what I do, you know, the rest of the time. But realistically, it's actually sort of not covering it. So yeah, it's still like, I'm still searching for that. Like, what can I do? Is it like, do I go, you know, I got into production for other artists, and then likewise, I sort of took a step back. It's like, well, do I start putting myself out there to do that again? Is it like grant writing? You know, it's that kind of thing. It's like just finding that balance of things so that I can like have that stability of like, this is where I know my income is coming from for sure. And then this is what I can do. And that part-time flexibility means, okay, when I have 2 weeks where I'm going to go do this workshop or this theater thing or whatever, or even like a couple months, I'm not like quitting a full-time job that's a career. Like that sort of, but I don't think I'm quite there yet, but it's also like a new perspective for me. Like I've really been full-time artist for almost like 15 years. And we're not going to put this on the podcast because I'm having a hot flash. So take my sweater off.
Take a breather.
Give me a second. Sean tells me stuff regularly, and then he'll be like, I told you. And I'm like, don't remember.
What I love about other women sharing their perimenopause stories when Mike is around is I'm like, you just take notes, my friend. Like, because you're either validating a very similar experience I'm having or preparing him for what's to come. Like, and all my friend group is kind of entering this phase of our life. So,
and I mean, frankly, I don't mind talking about perimenopause publicly, but it's funny. Like Sean's, we were at his mom's house and she was talking and she was like on a rant, and you know, she's postmenopausal, but she was on a rant, and I was just watching him with this giant grin on my face, and he's like, what? I'm like, she's the one ranting, and it's very nice.
Just
are you listening?
Letting you know.
Because there are times when I think it's like so unreal to somebody who's not experiencing it, and I'm just like, you know, sometimes we're like cuddling in bed and I'm like, too hot, you're too hot. Like, I just say too hot. Anyway, okay. So what were we?
We're talking about this idea of making it.
Have I reached that
dream A and B?
Yeah. I think I'm working towards it. And I think some of that is also like psychological for me. Like it's really coming to terms with, and again, like we were, you know, off mic talking about how I'm like at that perimenopause age. And so there are a lot of big, it's like they call it the chaos, the chaos era. And so, you know, I'm also like, there are times where I'm really struggling. And it's because everything's in my hormones are all out of whack. And then there are other times where I'm like, no, I got this. This is what I have to do. But I think there was a real period of like almost a year where I was really, you know, I've also been pretty public about having major depressive disorder. And I was like really in a major depressive episode because it felt like this career I have, which arguably is like, if you look at my CV, my artist CV, it's like, whoa, that is so impressive. Tom Power, the Tom Power called me one of the finest songwriters in the country. Sarah Polley has talked about me in the Globe and Mail. The Sarah Polley. Like all the papers of record, all the important critics have talked about my work. I've won things. I've had music, you know, on TV shows and films and stuff. And like, I am accomplished. AF. Can I swear on this podcast?
Yes.
I am fucking accomplished. And yet I have nothing financially, no stability to show for it. And that is devastating. Like, devastating. Like I was in a serious depression of like, what do I do? Is it time to quit? How do I keep doing this? But also like that pain of feeling like, oh, the world I live in doesn't value what I do. That was hard. And so I think I'm sort of like in this phase now of like, I've accepted it. There are days where like I still feel in a rage or sad about it, but mostly it's like, well, this is the way it is. It's just the way it is. And I do still think very much that what I do is important. So like, how do I do it? And so, you know, the first step was like getting the first job, quote unquote, that I've had in 15 years that wasn't music. And that was a big step. And I'm still adjusting to that. But like, finding that balance, you know, of like, what can I do to support myself so that I can still keep doing these other things and hopefully get back to that point where I can do music full time again. But realistically, like I need to be making more money. Like it's just so hard. It's so hard for most of us to make a full-time income off of music or art, you know?
Thank you for being so honest and vulnerable about this. Like it really is very, I just feel very seen and understood to have other people after years of investing themselves. And before you kind of shared this sentiment, I was sitting here thinking to myself, how accomplished you are.
Oh.
Think like,
yeah.
And diverse. I mean, you everything from dance to music to theater to producing. I mean, you have and can do it all. And I feel like there's obviously something to be celebrated and recognized there.
Yeah.
But when you're the individual sitting there with this beautiful CV that you could, put in a brass or gold plated frame, it's like, yes, this is great. Now let's go over here and look at my bank account.
Yeah.
That is not reflective of the achievements that you have experienced. And it's very nice to say, like, it should be enough that we get to do this thing that we enjoy. And to some extent, yes, we are privileged to be able to show up and do something that brings us a sense of joy. Sure.
Yeah.
However, it also comes at a sacrifice that is a little bit invisible to those that may be even consuming this very beautiful piece of art that you're not getting compensated or recognized for in the way that we need to just to survive.
Yeah. And thank you for that.
Yeah.
And also, I kind of reject that feeling of like, oh, because I love my job, I should be poor. I know psychiatrists who love their work and they make a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it's valuable work. Like, I have a great psychiatrist. Love her. She saved my life.
Yes.
But like, nobody's telling her that because she loves her job, she shouldn't be making much money. I know teachers who love their job. No one's telling them. I mean, teachers are arguably underpaid, but no one's telling them, they should like live on, I don't know, that their work should be sold for like, 0.0007 cents a spin or whatever.
Think of professional athletes. Like, all they care about in the world is that sport. It's their favorite thing in the world to do. And now, like, basketball players are some of them make $70 million a year.
Wow. Yeah.
Like they're the very, very, very best.
Yeah.
Of course.
But it's like, we're not telling them like, oh no, like you shouldn't be you love your job. So you should that should be enough for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And our jobs are arguably one of the most vulnerable human experiences to have.
Yes.
So yes, I enjoy performing or writing or creating in general, but it's so revealing of yourself. This is a representation of you. And so for it to feel like it's not being valued can feel like a personal attack on just you.
Yeah. I mean, I think it is like when society when you feel like unseen or undervalued by literally society, I think that is really, I mean, for me, it was like, it put me into a serious, very long, depressive period.
Yeah. All the while people are consuming the art more than ever.
Yeah.
Like there's that weird disconnect about it as well.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Your stuff is still out there and people are still listening to it according to stupid Spotify.
I know collaboration and community is very important to you.
Yeah.
And that's something that, having gone through some of your work, you've collaborated with, you've referenced some of the folks that have given you shout outs, but locally as well, you've really tuned into and supported a lot of artists, a lot of female artists in particular, some of who we've had on the show. Often your name comes up, Gab,
that's so
of
nice.
People that have worked with you, and just, you don't always get to hear the nice things that people say behind your back. And I always like to tell people,
that's really nice.
There's a real respect for you, I would say, in the art scene here. And I know that doesn't buy your apples, but I hope that gives you a sense of belonging and accomplishment here, because you're a rock star. And just, you have our love and respect as well.
Oh, thank you. That is really nice.
Yeah, it's cool.
I'm going to take that and put it in my pocket.
Take it to Sobeys and see what it can get.
I also felt like
I have this compliment.
Just wear it as a pin. We'll get something printed.
Do you have a points card? No, but I have these compliments.
I have this. The other thing I wanted to mention, because I know we're getting to the end of our time here together, but in reading about your latest album on your website, you've got a bit of a bio of what this album is is about. And I felt like I was reading my own bio.
Right.
And there's something in art about feeling seen and understood. And I wondered if you, I don't know if it's a certain kind of artist or maybe a style of art now being in theater. Is there something you look to that you see yourself in?
Oh, I don't. That's a good question. I feel like the answer is probably yes, but I'm trying to I'm blanking on what.
Yeah, this is an easy one for me, having just read this thing and being I feel that way too.
Yeah.
Sort of this introvert, extrovert experience and love being part of community and being social and being out, yet want to come home and retreat and just a lot of this stuff. And I just, felt recognized in what this album is about. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just the power of music and art, I understand. But
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I could think. I mean, I'm going to think about it on the drive home and I'm going to be like, damn it.
Yeah. Text me.
Voice memo.
Yeah. Love a voice memo.
I know you studied history.
Yeah.
Your new project you're working on, theater, essentially diving into history. You have songs from your past albums that are diving into your family's history.
Yeah.
What is it that fascinates you about history?
For me, studying history really brought a lot of understanding about the world I live in, context. I love context.
Mm-hmm.
I really I thrive on understanding how things work or how things got to be the way they are, especially when I'm frustrated or don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
So history for me and what I focused on specifically was people's writing during, it used to be called intellectual history, which I think is maybe a bit elitist, but the history of thought and what people were writing and thinking when they were going through these sort of major periods and how they were processing it. Because I read something by Petrarch, who was an early humanist, the sort of the grandfather of humanist Renaissance thinking. And I remember reading stuff of his, which is from 1315 or something, and just being whoa, just being, I mean, this might have been I, used to smoke a lot of pot. And so I might have been very stoned, but still being holy shit. I hear that. I feel that there, Petrarch. There's your answer. Yeah, I felt whoa, all these years ago, this person felt the same way, or reading, especially writers, when I got into reading about women writers and feminist thinkers, and sort of seeing how they would articulate, the right for equality, that kind of thing. Or just, how people process things, or understanding oh, there have been really rough times. We're not in the Middle Ages. So that's good.
Yeah.
That's
we're better than
news,
that.
Guys.
Nobody's been beheaded in the community today.
Yeah. There's not the bubonic plague is not what, COVID was bad, but it was not the bubonic plague. Women can sure do a lot more, and queer people can be out and who we are. And so I think that's I don't know. I think for me, history just helps the world make sense. Sometimes it's alarming though, because sometimes you see things repeating themselves and you're like, whoa, guys, has anyone, this thing.
You just show up with your textbooks.
Guys, excuse me. Pushes up the glasses. Did you know this has happened before? Yeah, it's wild.
How did you research your own family story?
Google, talking to my mom,
I guess if there's a Canadian heritage site, that's a little more accessible.
It's not as it's still pretty limited because those plaques are everywhere, guys. But that lighthouse, Île Perroquet, has a website, and they've refurbished the lighthouse, and you can go stay there. My parents actually went and stayed there. My mom was a celebrity.
Neat.
But yeah, I mean, it's just a story my family's told forever. And it's really quite a short and simple story, and then everything else is based on stuff I know, or when I don't know something, I look it up, and I know where to look for it. And then it's, that's the beauty of theater, is most of it's made up. Not like the historical stuff, but I play with things. Like I really wanted to have a character, that like we try to cast people of color in the roles, and gender diversity is very important as well. But I wanted to have a character who was like historically Black, rather than just like, we cast this person who, and you're going to pretend you don't notice or whatever. Colorblind casting itself is problematic. But yeah, and so I looked up, like, had there been any, like, I was like, the only character I could think of that could be Black was like maybe the mayor, because he's not related to all these people. And so I was like, were there Black mayors? And like there were in the Reconstruction era, in like early after the Civil War, there were Black politicians. There was this like beautiful era before it got ruined by Jim Crow, where men generally, but had like held positions of power. And so it's like slightly not real, but it's like, it's not the right exact time period. Like it's sort of not super historically accurate, but enough for me, so yeah, stuff like that is.
I love that you put this consideration into it. Of course you have.
Yeah. I mean, I will also say that was Avery Jean's, like my dramaturge's sort of like, what about this? The dramaturge's job is to ask you questions that annoy you and also challenge you. And you can do what you want with it, which is great. Yeah. But yeah, this was a question at first that I was like, well, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. It's my family.
Yeah.
And then, there's like other characters where it's like, it would be really confusing. Or we did a workshop where we did colorblind casting, and even the actors were like, this doesn't make sense. So yeah, this was like early on a thing that I thought about it. And initially was like, I don't see how it can, oh, wait. And then I went looking and now I'm like very attached to it. Like it is actually a huge challenge to find a Black man of a certain age in this province who is available, who can sing and dance or sing and act.
Right.
We have the best one, like Jacob Sampson. Oh, I can't even tell you how thrilled I am that he's in this cast for the workshop and the concert we're going to do.
So tell us about this.
The concert?
Yes. Tell everybody listening when we can come see this. Yes.
I think it will sell out, but I'm like, I'm sort of like, I really want it to sell out early because I might be able to open up even more seats. So basically we're doing the workshop, where we'll sort of like play around with stuff. And then we're going to break for a day. And then I'm going to put together like a 90-minute version of the show. And then we'll have 2 very brief 5-hour days. That's all we have money for, to like actually rehearse. And that same cast that we've cast for our workshop will perform 90 minutes of the show, at the Sanctuary Arts Center on December 10th. And like, I cannot express to music people who are like, oh, I'll catch you the next time. No, there's no next time.
December 10th is the date.
Yeah. And so it's like, it's a work in progress. It's a reading. They'll have music in front of them and the scripts will be in front of them because they're not, they won't be off book, but it's still pretty incredible. Yeah. And it'll be like, it's an incredible cast. I mean, we have like,
it looks unbelievable.
Julie Martell is a legend. Leah Pritchard is my forever Azelie. She's incredible also. Stuart Legier. I mean, it's like, I'm forgetting people, but like the cast is incredible. So yeah, it's like it's a rare thing. It's a rare thing. It's a one-time thing.
And it's 7 years in the making, right?
Yeah.
2018?
Yeah.
My math good?
Yeah.
Good math.
Yeah.
6, 7? Yeah.
And it's like, it's not the premiere. I don't know when the premiere will happen because this is the reality of this, is that it's a big cast. And, Neptune Theater has been public about like wanting to produce this show, but they can't do it on their own. There's just not, they need a co-producer. So that is a bigger challenge, and that could never happen realistically. So who knows when this show will actually premiere. So this is the moment. If you want to see what I've been working on, this is the thing to come and see. And it's beautiful and joyful and, especially for queer folk, but I think for everybody, it's for humans.
It's for humans
who have hearts.
December 10th. We'll put the link in the show notes. And I know it's on your socials and website and whatnot, which we also will link up. So Can't wait for that. Very proud of seeing an artist too, just try something new and be open to the experience as it unfolds unexpectedly before them.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for being here,
my
sharing
pleasure.
your story, your wisdom, just enlightening us all. So
thanks for having me. This was delightful.
We could have used a couple more hours to get the full picture, but this was a great intro, Gab, to some of the things that you've done, and we'll do it again.
Oh, I'd love to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
December 10th, folks. Get your tickets. Are they available now?
They sure are.
Okay.
Yep.
Grab them,
We'll
folks.
see you there. Okay.
Cheers.
Make It with Mike and Kristen is recorded and produced by Michael S. Ryan at Hot Jupiter Sounds.
Intro and outro music by me as well.
Cover art by Emily Rankin at Take Note Graphic Design and photography by Candace Moore.
If you cool cats want to help us out, the best way to spread the word is by telling a friend about us. Tell your mom, tell all your buds. Word of mouth is still the best way to reach people. It's free for you and helps us immensely. And if you're into it, you can like and subscribe and all that stuff too.
Another way to support us is through our Patreon. We have a number of super fun tiers and perks like bonus content, handwritten postcards, creative coaching, and so much more. Find us at patreon.com/Mike and Kristen.
For the makers, the dreamers, and the figuring it outers, have fun trying to make it out there, friends.